Welcome to this episode of Something to Say podcast, a unique platform that amplifies the voices of individuals from various backgrounds sharing their passions. I'm Greg DeShields, your host, and I'm pleased to bring you this exciting episode of Something to Say and to have the opportunity to introduce and to speak with a fantastic guest. So we thank I'm sorry, I'll start over. So we thank you for joining us today, and we welcome Tom Logan, who is CEO and founder of eBay Man, and he'll explain to you what eBay Man is, and publisher of the Dossier of Black Gay Men. So Tom is a dynamic individual. He's committed to fostering connection and empowerment within the Black gay community. With over 20 years of extensive corporate experience, ranging from account management to leadership roles, Tom has embarked on a transformative journey into entrepreneurship driven by a profound dedication to addressing the un I'm sorry, let me do that again. With um is that unmet? Yes, unmet. I'm sorry.
Mhm.
With over 20 years of experience, with over 20 years of extensive corporate experience ranging from account management to leadership roles, Tom has embarked on a transformative journey into entrepreneurship driven by a profound dedication addressing the unmet needs of the Black LGBTQ community. As the founder of eBay Men, Tom's mission is to elevate and celebrate the lives of Black gay men. Through this innovative lifestyle brand, he seeks to provide tailored resources and support while reshaping the narrative surrounding Black gay individuals. Tom's role as a self described connector has enabled him to immerse himself in understanding the nuances of community cultivation, fueling his vision for eBay Man as a beacon of empowerment. One of eBay Man's flagship initiatives, Representation Matters, exemplifies Tom's commitment to amplifying diverse voices within the community. This project showcases the stories of 43 inspiring Black gay men and one ally spanning various industries and life experiences. And I have to say, it's an amazing book, so you have to get it. These narratives serve as a testament to the resilience, the strength, and the beauty of the Black gay community, while championing diversity as well as inclusion. Driven by the passion for positive change, Tom Logan and eBay Man are poised to leave a lasting impact on the landscape of Black gay empowerment. Through eBay Man's collective efforts, they aim to transform perceptions, bridge gaps, and cultivate a legacy of empowerment and inclusion for generations to come. So, Tom, welcome, and I'm so thrilled to interview you today.
Well, thank you, sir. I am honored and humbled. Thank you so much. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
So, now, just for the record, our podcast is 25 minutes long, and I know that we probably have far more than 25 minutes of conversation. I'm going to do everything I can to stick to the script and make sure that we're able to capture all of the valuable insights as well as the impactful messages that you'd want to share with our group. So, once again, thank you. And I'm so ready to dive into our conversation.
Yes.
All right, so you have done so much, and we know that you have very big plans for the future, but just who are you? So, here at Something to Say, we always begin with just a few get to know you questions. It really allows an opportunity for our audience to get a deeper insight beyond that of the introduction that I shared just a few moments ago. So, if you're up for it, we're going to start with a few icebreaker questions, and then we're going to go a little bit deeper and learn more about you. So, you ready for your
Go.
first question?
Yes. Ready.
All right, so if you could have dinner with any historical figure, who would that be and why?
Wow. Amazing question. So I think for me, it actually would be one of my ancestors. And the reason why I say that is I'm always intrigued by uh, family roots, connecting again, being that connector person. I think a lot of times for us as a community, in terms of being African American, being LGBTQ, it's always great that we have some type of roots or connections. And so I would love to be able to sit down with one of my ancestors and just find out that experience and make some of the connections, have those aha moments that now I understand my lineage, now I understand my purpose and my reason for being here.
Well, so we always add a little bit of an additional question to that. So what do you think you would eat?
Oh, um, hopefully some really good soul food. Some really good soul food. Yes, that would be interesting just to see the difference of how they may have prepared the food back then versus how we actually prepare it now. That would be really interesting. I love that question. Great question.
Very cool. All right. So do you love your future or your past more?
My future, I love my future more.
And why is that? What's been so intriguing about that?
So my past is kind of my past, and I think I won't speak for everyone, but I know a lot of times when people have a past, some of the things that may have happened in the past were learning blocks or steps to get you to where you are. But your future, or my future, I should say, I feel it looks a lot brighter. It looks a lot more positive in the direction that I want to go. And I've always been that individual that looks for the destination. I always feel like there's two type of people, and I kind of figure out who that is. Either they are a destination type person or they're a journey type person. And I've always been that destination, like getting to that point, like I can see that beacon of light, and I'm just can't wait to get there.
Wow. Very cool. Yeah, I think I'm in that same bucket. So,
Yeah.
all right. Now, this, like I said, is icebreaker, and it might
Mhm.
be a little close to really you want to ask me that question? But so here's your question.
Yeah.
What is the silliest fear that you have that you are willing to admit?
Oh, spiders. Spiders, anything that can secretly crawl around you that I am not aware of. Yes, and even what's funny about it is, I know for me, it's almost like that little inside joke of my spider sensor tingling. There's something around me that I need to be aware of, and it's yes, anything that crawls around that can just surprise you. Yeah, that's my
I'm totally in that boat. I am not a spider person. I try to
yeah.
be brave in that, but it is without any doubt one of my silliest fears.
All
But I
right,
just want
right.
to dig a little bit deeper in your story. You know, you really are this founder and you're CEO of eBay Man, and you know, every opportunity I get to share, you know, eBay Man to individuals, I'm always curious about for you, what was your LGBTQ story? So why don't we start with that if you tell us your story? Tell us about your LGBTQ journey.
My LGBTQ journey kind of started a little late in life. I was more so figuring myself out in my 20s. I've dated women in the past, and so as I got closer to my late 20s, early 30s, I started accepting. Like I always knew it was something different. I always got a sense of there was an attraction to um, same sex, but I never approached or tried to experience it. But as I got later on in life, like I said, my 20s, my late 20s, early 30s is when I started trying to figure that part out and becoming more accepting to it. And again, it goes back to not having that connection, not having that those mentors or those individuals to kind of help navigate or get advice from. Everyone was accepting of it, but at the same time, you are acting, for lack of a better word, different than what other individuals are used to seeing. And it's not that they can't help you with it; they just don't know.
Mm,
And so you're dealing with a circle around you that just does not know. And a lot of times they meaning my family or my friends, were very protective, very protective of me. So I definitely have to say my family was definitely secure in that. So as I got in my 30s, I got into a long-term relationship that lasted for about 13, 14 years. I am definitely that individual. I prefer to be committed versus trying to navigate it as a single Black gay man. So my journey of an LGBTQ has been, for lack of a better word, interesting. Still navigating, still figuring it out. Would I ever change that journey? No, I would never change that journey.
Wow. Well, it certainly is an inspirational story because you did have family support,
Yes.
for so many when they experience their journey in life and they are, become fully aware of who they are as an individual, they may not necessarily always have the support to kind of navigate what that will mean for them for the rest of their life. So, thank you for sharing that. I know it's very personal. We really appreciate it, but it certainly helps to uh, put into perspective why you take on such a dynamic role of leading eBay Man. All right,
Thank you.
so for leaders, this is a question we've been asking, and it's always surprising to hear what the responses are. But for you, how big is your inner circle?
That's a great question. So my inner circle, so by nature, I am an introvert. And so being an introvert, I tend to have a small circle. So I could probably count the number of people that are really in my circle that I can just pick up a phone and have a quick call. And that may be 3 to 4 people, maybe five at the most. But I would say my core is about 3 to 4 people.
Wow. So you and I share the same in that respect. And I don't know, as you get to a certain age, you start to realize that it's not, a big circle. It's more of a small, intimate circle
Right,
that
right.
you really trust, that really guides, those who provide you that critical overview that you need,
Yes.
also that friendship and support. So
Right.
really excited to hear you say that. So
Yes.
all right, so this is really important because we know you're really working this space. So what legacy do you hope to leave behind?
Um, For me, that has always been a very intriguing question. A lot of times when I am asked to speak at any event, I still have to wrap my head around that concept of you're actually leaving a legacy or the importance of your work. Because from me, I've always been the person on the back end showcasing the icons, showcasing the legacies within the community. And so for me, I think that would be my legacy of that person, making sure I was able to amplify, provide a platform, and really showcase the true perspective of what it means to be a Black gay man.
Hmm. Well, I would certainly say one major building block is, as we'll talk about the book, is the representation that it creates. And I could
Yes.
see, 10, 15, 20 years from now, and someone coming across that book and being absolutely amazed with the representation that's brought there. And I don't want to get ahead of myself because we're going to talk about
Thank
that.
you.
But one last question around your story. Tell me something that you think is true that almost no one will agree with you on. Something that you think is true that almost nobody would agree with you on.
I've always been um, told that I need to put myself first. My father raised and showed us, not in a negative way, but in a way that he did not put himself first. He put everyone else around him first.
Mm,
And so it's inherent in me that if I cannot help that person, it bothers me more than not. And so I am always being told by my circle and everyone else, you have to stop putting everyone else first. You have to put yourself first. And so for me, that is definitely a true statement of no matter what I do, it's still you need to put yourself first. So that's the biggest challenge, and that's the one thing I would definitely say.
great. So let's move into, more of the business world. And I know you're living in this space now as it relates to getting the word out about eBay Man and obviously the publication of the book. So a couple of questions around marketing and publication. So what are some of the most significant trends that you're seeing right now?
Uh, for marketing, it's such a brand new world. Being in the age group that I am in, social media blowing up, and individuals nowadays can set up an account starting off with 1,000 followers one day and end up with 1 million followers the next day. So the marketing landscape has totally changed. I think the most biggest thing for me is authenticity. I
Mm.
think that is definitely a key when it comes to marketing. People really want to see uh, raw, just you being yourself. And for me, sometimes that is a challenge because of the community sometimes that we're in, but also from a being an introvert and personal perspectives, that raw footage is being able to be exposed, being able to be vulnerable. But that is to me some of the definite trends that are in the marketing field. In terms of publishing, um, I think there still are some gaps. There's still some improvements that need to be made when it comes to Black authors, LGBTQ authors, the challenges I faced in terms of getting our project out, some challenges, let's just say that. So I think there's some definite needs of improvement when it comes to getting things published.
I really like the idea that you pointed out authenticity. I know in the travel industry that really has been the emphasis around trend. That,
Hmm.
individuals today want an experience that is as close to real life as possible,
That's possible.
and to manufacture and produce something that is supposed to be an interpretation of an experience has absolutely no impact as it relates to actually seeing someone enjoy, jumping into an ice cold swimming pool, so that level of authenticity and the expression of, oh my God, is really something that definitely resonates. How about
Yes.
this one? I'd be curious to know from you, are there any particular misconceptions that you would say exist either in the marketing and publication industry that you'd want to clear up?
Um, First of all, take my hat off to anyone that is in either field. Neither one are my forte,
Mm,
neither one are really in my wheelhouse. So I always do look for individuals that can help me sharpen my skills.
mhm.
Um, and I would say that is definitely the misconception is that again, you can turn on an account and make major moves in a matter of days or weeks or months. It really is an art to it. It is an authentic experience. Some people are born with that, and some people have to acquire it. And so I think that is definitely one of the misconceptions. And even in the publishing and creating books, I take my hat off to all authors that can do that journey on a consistent basis, on a writing a book every year, every 2 years. It's a hard landscape to navigate. Yes.
Well, I did want to ask you this third question. It really speaks to issues of innovation, and I guess maybe to get some of your thoughts on artificial intelligence. So, what are some of the things that maybe perhaps you even experienced as it related to the publication of the book, and looking at those issues of innovation or the use of artificial intelligence?
I am a huge fan of AI. I think it will definitely revolutionize not only from a cost perspective, but also more efficient and also leveling the playing field. A lot more individuals from entrepreneurship to authors to marketing. I think there's a lot more tools that are out there that will help them become more successful, become more polished, professional, from a branding standpoint, from an aesthetic standpoint. So I am a huge fan of AI, and I think every individual, young or old, wherever you are in your career, really need to make sure that you sharpen your artificial intelligence skills.
Wow. Well, I kind of thought you'd embrace that AI and artificial intelligence as well as innovation because for so many in the entrepreneurial space, you have limited resources. And the reality
Yes,
is to be successful, to your point of having as many tools in that toolbox to use as possible gives you a competitive opportunity. Maybe you can do two things at one time by incorporating that. So, absolutely.
yes.
All right, so I want to dig into some of the questions that are really important to you, but I think this will be really important to our audience. So, how did you come up with the concept or the brand eBaying Man? I mean, and there's so many things that swirl around my head. I think in the beginning, just to say, like, well, what was the deal behind the name?
I always get that question, and I always love answering it because the name is so synonymous with the concept of the brand itself and the reason why it was curated. And going back to my 20s, working in corporate America, again, not really having an identity, I always would get jokes calling myself Gordon Gecko because I would wear my hair slicked back and I would have on this three-piece suit or this two-piece suit. And so it was the identity of you becoming kind of that robot or that individual that went to that 9 to 5 and you came home. And so as I started looking around and realizing like there's a need for a different identity. And so I started uh, twisting and creating my dreads and creating this whole new of what it looks like to be a professional African American man. And then I also started figuring out, well, how do I incorporate the being Black and gay?
Mhm,
No mentors that I could find, no one that was really in my corporate circle that I could have conversations with or amplify as an example of um, what I would like my life to look like. And so that's how the initial concept of eBay Man was developed of the lack, the need for myself. And so I started looking around online. There was nothing online. I initially wanted to create these First Friday events. I would go to First Friday events in my 20s, and they were great experiences. But being part of the gay community, there was no elevated experience for Black gay men.
mhm,
We went to whatever social event there was, but there was really no, you could get dressed up or you could go right off to work and really have that experience from my perspective. And
mhm,
so I started wanting to create these social events on a Friday. And from there, it extended into a platform, an online platform, because there was no presence online.
mhm.
And so after that, I said, well, what name do I give this concept of this brand? And I always try again to go back to my roots. And so I started looking at different names that would be associated within the African diaspora. And I came up with Ebane. And Ebane actually is an indicative word, which means community. It is the love, the safety that you would find in a home. And so the whole concept behind it is creating this fence or creating this home of safety, love, and support within the Black gay community. And so essentially, Ebane Man means a community of Black gay men.
Wow. Wow. That's really cool.
Thank you.
It is, without any doubt, to your point, an area of which there's just not a lot of representation. And as you aspire to become even that much more of a successful corporate business leader as a Black gay man, you find there are fewer and fewer role models, individuals that you can connect to, even in terms of how I present myself and how you present yourself and how we present ourselves in the business setting. So,
Yes.
um, a big kudos to you. I think it's a concept that continues to evolve. Certainly, from the content that we see on the website, it covers a variety of different interpretations of the lifestyle. But I can imagine that there's probably a young Black gay male who's pursuing their professional career, and this is probably a huge resource and reaffirming who they are. So, congrats on
Yes.
that.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I guess that's a bit of a segue to talk about the current project and the Representation Matters book. So why don't you tell us about that project?
So representation matters is so important to myself as well as Perez Harrison Pratt. And I definitely have to give a shout out to Perez Harrison Pratt, who is one of the authors, as well as Phyllis Steam is one of the other authors of the book. This concept came across um, due to Ebane Man. We create profiles um, around professional Black gay men or Black gay men in general just to make sure that we showcase and we show a different perspective of the spectrum within the community. And I said, well, the only thing we do is really just put it on the website and we showcase it on our social channels. After a while, it fades or it disappears. And so I wanted to come up with a concept that would, again, leave that tangible moment, that tangible legacy that not only I could appreciate, but people in the community could appreciate. There's a joke on TikTok that I watched. This gentleman who was an interior designer, and he said, "If I go into one more home and I see another Tom Ford coffee table book, I'm gonna lose it." And he was so right. He said, "I would prefer to go into someone's home and see coffee table books that emulate who they are, who gives you this different perspective that when you walk into their home, you can look at that person and say, yes, I can see you living here, or it exemplifies who and what you love to be." And so when I started looking at the coffee table book, I said, yes, there's a need for that example of what the Black gay experience looks like from various spectrums. And so we were so pleased to have such amazing interviews and conversations with 43 Black gay men and one ally. And the ally to us was the icing on the cake. The ally was the individual that kind of solidified and closed the book very well about the importance of not just making sure the Black gay experience is important, but also making sure that the two communities come together and the importance of that as well.
Wow. So now, where can I get the book? How much is the book?
Ah, so you can definitely go online right now. It's on pre-order at ebayman.com. And for those, it's EBANMAN.com. You can go right online. Once you click on the pre-order, scroll through, find out additional information about myself, Perez Harrison Pratt, as well as some additional information regarding ordering the book. And we have two options when it comes to pre-ordering the book. We have one option where it is the book only, which is $69.95. And then we also have a second option where you can get a custom curated coffee mug as well as a candle, a signature eBay Man candle, and that is $99.95.
Wow, very cool. Many ways to support the initiative and certainly support the community. One thing I
Yes.
did want to ask you, tell us about Perez and where Perez lives.
I, yes. So Perez is an amazing individual. Perez came across myself and the brand a couple years ago, and he wanted to be a part of something because of the same scenario. He felt that there was really no representation. He felt as if he was trying to make a connection within the community and was trying to find a community that was willing to be opening and accepting of him. And having conversations, I thought he was the perfect individual to be a part of the brand. And he's been always so instrumental with our social channels, making sure all of the branding and everything is on par. And he's based in South Africa. Let me backtrack a little bit as well. So Perez is based in South Africa. And so having that conversation with him and making sure that we provided that global presence was very important to him, and we made sure at eBay Man that we incorporated that as well. So he was definitely instrumental in that.
Right, and I
Yeah, I
wanted to
love
give a big
Prince.
shout out to Perez because he does help to add
Yes,
that global, international perspective to it. So,
yes,
especially
yes,
when he joins calls because he's on a
yes.
time zone. So two more questions before we begin to wrap it up. So, what are some of the future goals that you have for the brand?
What we're working on, and actually, first, we're actually working on the second book. So the coffee table book is a series of life experiences for the Black gay male. And so the second book is actually about love and relationships. We try and look at all the pillars within the community. So each year, and there's a series of 10 that are in my head. And so those 10 series have to come to fruition. The second thing that we are working on is a app. We had an app, maybe about 3 or 4 years ago, about 3 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago that, we felt there was a need for the community to have a different platform than what's currently out there. Something that's a little bit more professional, making sure that people can socialize and feel comfortable and network with each other in all aspects that those two individuals choose to, but something that actually gives them a little bit more comfort than what's currently out there on the market. And so that's our goal for next year is to relaunch, revamp our eBay Man app.
Wow, very cool. So my last question is one that, I know is really important to eBay Man and all the work that you're doing. So how can we as a community support and be much more involved with the undertaking that you embark upon?
Oh, thank you. So anyone that is interested in supporting the brand and supporting the cause can definitely send me an email. My email and information is right on the website. If you can't find it, it's tlogan@ebayman.com. Definitely feel free to reach out. I am always open to individuals that are passionate about being a part of something, and passion to me, authenticity to me means sometimes so much more important than the skill sets that the individual can offer.
Great.
Other ways is definitely taking a look at our social channels and liking and following our social channels as well. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you. So the final question is the podcast is entitled Something to Say. So simply put, so what do you have to say?
Um, Great question. Make every day, every moment very important because it could be a cliche, but um, make every day important because you just never know. You know, every day is beautiful, whether it's raining, it's snowing, it's sunshine, tornadoes last night in Chicago. It's some kind of way you gotta make it a good day. So yes.
Wow. Well, Tom, I really want to thank you so much for sharing your passion and your insights and the words. They truly are very informative, and I think will, without a doubt, have a great impact upon those who are listening to us. So, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So, that's a wrap for this episode of Something to Say. I encourage you to stay tuned for more inspiring conversations with voices of individuals from diverse backgrounds sharing their passion. Until next time, this has been Greg DeShields. And we go here.